Okay, we are live. We are live. This is a redo. This is the remix. So far, we've got 13C Joe. There you go.
There we go.
Joe's in. He's in the building. We're waiting for Lucretia to get back in. Hopefully, she got the link. Shout out to everyone who's joining us. I don't know if this is doing any better. If you guys are out there, let us know if this is any better. Hopefully, it is. I don't know. I don't know how many times we'll have to restart tonight, but we are waiting for Lucretia to sign back in, so hopefully she'll be back on here pretty soon.
I think it's a conspiracy. I think you're next. I think if they start with Alex Jones, you're next.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely next, no matter what. Somewhere down the line, it's going to happen. So, yeah, I see we're getting some messages like so far, so good, better. Lots of people checking in. Lucretia should be coming back in here in a second. We're just waiting for her to jump back in here. So yeah, so this is going to be episode 226 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. Our subject is going to be Shopify bans guns, including Spike's Tactical. Looks like they lost the ability to sell through their entire website. Right, Joe?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to actually go to Spike Tactical's website now. I've been out all day. I just got home just a couple minutes before joining you here, but and I was just while we were reading through the rest of that story there for Shopify. That's really disturbing. I mean, there are, I think Spike said they have $100,000 invested in their Shopify site. You look at other companies. There's some. I think one of the companies in there mentioned was a smaller holster company, something along those lines. They said they've got $40,000 invested in their site. I had no idea some of these sites that if you use a site like that, you wind up getting. It winds up costing that much money to develop. That's really disturbing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wouldn't know a lot about it. I know that lots of people are using Shopify.
Yeah, I know.
Or the Shopify app to run through their storefront, their online storefront. So lots of people are doing that, and apparently Shopify now is planning on banning anything related to guns or gun accessories.
That's so disturbing.
So,
there, yeah.
So we'll see what's going on with that. We're going to keep waiting for Lucretia. I'm not sure. She may be having some issues. Let me just quickly go down while we're waiting for her to get back on and shout out everyone. Cody Phillips is #1 in this one. Since we had the reset, Ridge Runners here, RTS guy, DCG 44s, Ghetto Hood Gamer, Special K, the Arms Man, Justin E, James Lawson, Psycho 316, Richard Hughes also here. Richard Hughes says, "What is Shopify?" Okay, I guess we'll have to explain Shopify to Richard. He's just pretending he has no clue what that is. I'm pretty sure of that. Sergeant Poppy. Let's see who else we got. Wicked Digger Shooting. Christopher Williams. Shout out to Christopher Williams. Bricks says, okay, part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Who else we got in here? Screaming Skull Saloon, Mr. FNH, Music Lover, Rondell Stewart, Gregory Bradley, Corey Williams, shout out to Mrs. Williams, Kyle Lusk, Andrew Thomas, John Gillian, The Archangel, Opt Out of Gun Control. Let's see who else. Patrick Barker as well, David Cardinal. Just trying to see who else is new in here. Jerry Woodman, Screaming Skull Saloon. He says Alex Jones getting shut down is fake. Okay. It's pretty real. Pretty real. Really real. Brian Quick. Also Hillbilly Nitro. Black Sword Shinobi. And Corey Williams says Chris only has 7 more days of dialysis. So good luck on that one. I know that's got to be tough. Yeah. John Dieter is here. I'm trying to see who else. Moobut is here. Peyton Taylor's here. Peyton Taylor says, hey, strange folk, it's been a while for me. Glad to have you back, Peyton. You're welcome anytime. Big Dick Willie also in the house. White Men Can't Hump says says I've got a crush on Lucretia. Okay. All right. I understand. I hear it. I hear you. There you go. Hopefully we'll get Lucretia back on. I don't know what happened. Lola, if you're out there, we still don't have Lucretia. So Lola's probably working on that, trying to get her back on. Okay, so we got to explain a couple things to people, Joe. Let's see. Where do we start here?
First, I think let's run down what Shopify is, because I don't think a lot of people probably use websites that have Shopify, but they don't understand that it's the engine behind the scenes that their storefront may be using that they're just not aware of.
Okay, true.
So I mean, I only have the superficial oversight of it that I know. Like we talk a lot about 1776 United and some of their awesome apparel. Shameless plug for them. Follow any of the links in any of my profiles and you should see them. Okay. I'll link to visit them.
Nothing wrong with, there are no shameless plugs here, by the way. Lucretia is coming back on.
Well, I hope there's no shameless plugs, because we do it every day, all day. We rep United States of America. That's our shameless plug.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay, we're explaining Shopify. So go ahead, Joe. Sure. While you're getting set up, Lucretia, Joe's explaining the Shopify. Yep. Have you ever heard of Shopify, Lucretia?
No, I have not.
Okay, so we might want to start that from the top, Joe.
Sure. So Shopify is like the engine or the backbone behind a lot of e-commerce websites. So for example, Spike's Tactical uses Shopify as their like engine to power their store. So it's like the base, and then they build up from there. Just like a WordPress site, like something like that, but it's specifically built for e-commerce. 1776 United, who I just mentioned, their engine, they don't sell any gun parts, but their kind of engine for their store that they've built up is based on Shopify as well. And most people that I know of that have businesses that run Shopify or that use that as their backbone enjoy it because it's pretty straightforward, it's intuitive, it has a good uptime. And I don't run my own Shopify site, but allegedly there's a lot you can do with it, which makes it very useful to someone who's trying to run an online store or sell things online.
Yeah, in this brave new world of ours, Shopify happens to be the backbone of lots of things that sell, lots of sites that sell stuff. If you look it up, Shopify is a Canadian e-commerce company headquartered in Ottawa, Ontario.
So do we still pay the sales tax that was just levied on us from Congress? Do we still pay the sales tax even though the company is in Canada, or do we sell two types of sales tax and on top of the state tax also?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to assume that the company is just a facilitator of these deals, and then American law is going to come into play based on what state someone's buying from and what where you're incorporated and all those kinds of things. That's my assumption.
Sure. Yeah. So I've ordered from at least two websites that I can think of off the top of my head. One that we mentioned, Spike's Tactical and 1776 United, and they base upon where your billing location / mailing address is. I don't know specifically which one they bill it on, because mine is both in the same state here in Indiana. So if I order anything online from either of them, I don't pay sales tax because Spike's is out of Florida and 1776 United is out of Georgia. But if I lived in Georgia, then I would have to pay sales tax as a Georgia resident because they're a Georgia company, or vice versa. And now, obviously, there's some laws that are kind of going to be changing here where you're going to force all kinds of e-commerce and anybody who sells online to collect sales tax if you do more than a certain amount, which is really minimal. It's going to put a huge hurting on small American businesses trying to comply with, I think there's 1,300 different taxing jurisdictions in the United States that companies are now going to have to try and comply with it, because it's not just a state thing. I mean, there are cities that have different taxes, counties, and every state is different. Every locale is different. So there's 1,300 different taxing jurisdictions just between the 50 states. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So now in regards to what's happening with Shopify, which we're going to deep dive into here in a second, Will Killer Keller says groups like Right Wing Watch and People for the American Way have been identified as being behind these pressure campaigns, and take a guess who's a major funder of those groups. You can RTS guy says George Soros, maybe?
Probably.
I'd say the 13 families, maybe the deep state, or maybe the UN altogether. Since Trump pulled the ATM out of NATO and out of the GS summit, then why not get us back with different types of tariffs? Look at how much we pay just in certain dairy in from Canada. Canada levies on us 125% tariffs just for the dairy that goes over their borders. Now we've been paying the butt end of it all. Now I'm so glad that our president is actually trying to negotiate some of those bad bills that they put on the books in the first place. And why are we paying 4% and Germany only paying 1.4%, and they're giving billions of dollars to Russia? Now you talking about Russia collusion. I'm gonna need to know where the real deal is coming from. You can't play both sides of the coin.
Yeah. I think that I think we should reset everything. I think we should everything should be up for play right now. Everything should be reset. So so just a quick thing. We're talking about Shopify. So this is from an article that was, I don't know, came out in May. It says Shopify hosts more than 377,000 active online stores that generate more than 29 billion in sales. Billion with a B. So that's just what's going on there with Shopify. And then the news that we were talking about, let me see, which one of these articles am I planning on pulling up here? Let's pull one of these up. Okay, so AmmoLand has a good article on this. AmmoLand says new Shopify policy bans sale of guns and accessories over the internet. And this is from Apopka, Florida. I guess I'm not sure. I think that's where AmmoLand is. I know Spike's Tactical is in that area. A change in policy announced Monday night by Shopify, an e-commerce platform used by more than 600,000 merchants to conduct online sales, would essentially shut down the sale of guns, gun parts, and accessories over the internet by retailers who use Shopify. Spike's Tactical, a Florida-based gun manufacturer, has built their entire website and online sales portal exclusively using the Shopify platform and conducts millions of dollars in sales through Shopify each year. This decision will have a significant ramifications to our business and should concern every retailer and Second Amendment supporter, said Cole Lola, general manager of Spike's Tactical.
I'm to the point that there's too many smart people out there on the right. There's too many smart people in the Republican Party. I don't care what side that you on. Why can't we band together and get rid of the Shopifys, get rid of the platform Amazon? Won't we build our own? It's so many smart people. Why are we dependent on the left in the first place? It's just like YouTube continuously shutting us down. There's enough smart people that's on our side, so we can go ahead and build our own stuff. Why are we dependent on their platforms when we know they can shut us down for the most littlest thing?
Good question. I think that's a really good question. Joe, do you want to take that on before I take it on?
So as far as I know, like I said, I don't do any kind of online sales like that. Our very small swag shop that just have a few patches and whatnot for the channel, specifically related to the channel. I use Big Cartel, but because there's no sense in building a thing. It's just easier that way. But I know, like, for example, I'll drop 1776. Hey, Lola, I'll drop 1776's United's name again. The guy who runs that and his family, I mean, he's, one of the most patriotic, and freedom-loving Americans that I know. And
that runs Big Cartel, you said?
No. James from 1776 United.
Okay.
His website uses his apparel company uses Shopify as their backend. At least they did. I think they still do. To my knowledge, they still do.
Yeah.
And I know if he was aware of these policies, he would have never have built up and invested into Shopify like he has if he knew, because he's made a number of different decisions to use certain companies, certain things to make sure that they fall in line with the values of him, his family, and his company. So I had no idea Shopify had any of that going on in the background either. I haven't heard anything before this of Shopify being anti-gun or not.
Okay, so here, let me just take a second to do a couple of things. One, I'm going to have Joe and Lucretia introduce themselves. We're already knee deep in this conversation, so we'll try to go on with that for a little bit. And then two, do not forget to hit the thumbs ups, please, people. Smash the thumbs ups. We've got over 100 people. I think it's like 125 people watching us right now. And we would appreciate very much if you would hit those thumbs ups. It's awesome. That's what we need. So I think back to Lucretia's question here, because that was a really good question. Mm-hmm. I think that there are people trying to build their own platforms. We've been talking about that for the last week or so. There's Gunstreamer, there's YouTube, there's you know, obviously when it comes to selling stuff, we've got Gunbroker and other sites. I believe that the YouTube guys that were Utah Gun Exchange, I think they're changing that name a little bit right now to maybe Universal Gun Exchange or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm trying to get them to come on so they could talk about it. I believe that there are people trying to do it, but everyone's playing catch up right now because we all lived in a world where we did not expect these people behind these companies to become social justice warriors and start using the technology against us. You know, and it's just one of those things. So people, if you're starting a business, you're going to use the best apps that work for your business that are available out there. That just makes sense, right?
Yep.
So you just go out there and you're like, okay, Shopify is really good. It's easy to use. Everyone's using it. I could plug it. It could plug and play with my website and all that. And you do it. That's how you get into it. And when the companies start to push their personal beliefs on society, that's how you get into these situations. I think a lot of this is we're seeing it getting worse now since Trump earned the presidency and went into the White House, and Republicans and conservatives basically took over Congress. They were like, well, what else can we do? And that's why we're seeing YouTube and Shopify and Facebook and Spotify and all these guys saying, okay, we're going to use whatever power we have now to crush the right or crush conservatives or go against the Second Amendment guys. And that's pretty much what we're facing right now.
Well, I can't wait till President Trump have a 3-pick. I'm just waiting on Ruth Ginsburg to just kill over any minute now, and he'll have pick number 3, and we could stop a lot of this stuff because they will not have a single majority in the Supreme Court. So he'll have a 3-pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to ATI Outdoors, by the way. I see someone from ATI Outdoors is in the chat. That's a sponsor of the Hank Strange situation. Look, check that out right there, ATI Outdoors. I think they have some cool stuff coming up, so hopefully we'll be able to talk to you guys about that. You know what? Yes, I think that's something that we have on our side. But here's what's probably going to happen at some point in the future. I think it's going to be too late, and this is why we do have to have our own platforms, and we need to support our own platforms. Basically, Congress is going to have to look at all these things and make them into utilities for us to stop them from doing what they're doing. Right now, as it stands, they're privately held companies, and they could say, we don't believe in this, and therefore we're not going to allow this kind of commerce or business or content to go on our platform. So what are they going to do? They're going to push it underground, just like they did every major inner city. They're going to push the gun rights underground and gun sales underground because you're not going to get rid of guns. Sometimes it seems like our representatives don't have the common sense that God gave them. Maybe the doctor smacked them too hard on their asses and they just lost some of their brain cells. But some of these people need to use common sense before they start spouting off. And that's where it gets scary. Because when you've had people that's been in office for 40 and 50 years, we're not the problem. The representatives are the problems and the ones that keep voting for their guys. Well, it's time for us to get rid of their guys before we no longer have our Bill of Rights and we're no longer the sovereignty of the United States of America. Now, I'm good with gun control because if they take away our Second Amendment right, they're going to take away every... Oh. You break it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their narratives, and it's time for society to.
Yeah. Lucretia, you're breaking up. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah, your signal is breaking up.
Really bad.
I don't know.
It is what it is. It's like you breaking up, then he'll break up, then I'll break up. You know what? Yeah, you're breaking up too.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would help on your end for a little while. There's some options up at the top to go into, and you can turn your camera off, for example, and we'll just put up a picture of you, and then your computer can prioritize your audio, so your audio isn't cutting in and out.
Yeah, we would love to see your beautiful face, but we would rather hear your voice.
So go ahead and put my picture up there. At
No,
least
we
I
can't.
can
No, we
drink.
can't. No, we no, we can't do it. You would have to do it. You'd have to shut off your video. That might help a little bit with the lagging.
All right, let's see what we can do.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Joe, did you want to respond? I think you were getting the gist of what Lucretia was saying there.
Yeah. So I think initially you hit the nail on the head with, there's a lot of companies that are being taken, completely unaware. I think, this is a free country. A private business can do what it wants up until the point it starts violating the contracts that it has entered into with other businesses, other people, organizations, whatever the case may be, right? So like my issues that I've had with YouTube have been in regards to they're violating their contract with me as far as striking me or taking different avenues, trying to limit my reach, deleting views, limiting monetization, that are going against the contract that we have together. As a YouTube partner, we have a contract. And I take umbrage with them violating my contractual rights, because I don't have a First Amendment right on their platform, but I do have a contractual arrangement with them as a YouTube partner. So there's that. And the same thing for Shopify, right? If they don't want to let people use their software that sell, whatever, that's fine. But, you've got a group of people who have entered into a contractual relationship with you. Now, I don't know the full terms of those contracts, but I would say that it is a gross abuse of whatever contractual arrangement is in there to have a business spend $100,000 to develop its website, let's say, right? And then give notice of a couple days or 30 days and say, oh yeah, you can't sell all your stuff that you were selling, you can't sell on there anymore. And then hold on to the $100,000 they've invested into it. I would say at that point, if they want to negate that contract, they need to return all the money that Spikes has invested, or whatever company it is, in building that their site up, since they can no longer use it. So that's where I take a huge issue what Spotify is doing here. I think they have a right to do it, but they need to make sure that they don't violate any contractual rights with the businesses that they have in place, and also to justly compensate all the time, effort, and money these companies put into building those sites up, since they can no longer use them because on a whim, Spotify has decided we don't want you using that. Hopefully that sums that up pretty well for you.
Yeah. I see. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm back. What do you think about the ghost gun controversy now?
As far as printing, 3D, are you talking about like 3D printing or?
Yes, how big they have made it. Not only how big the left has made the ghost gun, how they have tried to make it another threat, and how they're saying it's so lethal. Can you please explain to the audience exactly what is wrong with their argument about the ghost gun?
The easiest way to say is pretty much everything about their argument is wrong. So right now, the only 3D printed functional gun you can make is a single shot pistol. And you're only going to get a couple of rounds through it before it's not usable and it probably blows up in your hand. So, ultimately they say, that weapons that can hold, high capacity magazines and all these things are dangerous and they're high caliber, use all these catchwords. Well, this one thing that they're railing against right now is a single shot pistol caliber that you're going to get a couple of shots out of, best case scenario, before it's completely gone, and it's a ton of money and time invested to make it happen. So
yeah,
I think
on top of which people have always had the right to manufacture their own weapons. Right.
Absolutely. Americans have had the right to manufacture their own firearms for their own personal use for nearly 2.5 centuries now. That has never been decided. There's never been anything that says you can't do that for your own personal use. And there's actually some cases going through court right now in which, all right, so we got something. Oh yeah. So I read you can 3D print an entire AR-15 in a weekend. So obviously you put a bottleneck cartridge into a plastic barrel, bad things are going to happen. Ultimately, I long for the day where an American could sit down and print out with metal parts and functioning parts and print a functional AR or any other weapon for self-defense in their home and boom, it's ready to rock and go in a short amount of time. I would love that. I think everybody has a right to defend themselves. If they want to make their own stuff, more power to them. Ultimately, this technology, and the reason why there's been such consensus around it, is this technology has the potential to end tyranny, because it potential end tyranny, to end genocide, and make these things a relic of the past. Because if people can make their own firearms easily at home or anywhere, right, then they can defend themselves against a tyrannical government, against a group of people who are bent on genocide of another group of people. It is the ultimate freedom tool for someone to have, and I think that is awesome. And I think that's what they're scared of. They are scared of losing the power, because once this happens, and functionally, and it's not like today or tomorrow, this is going to be a decade or two down the road before this happens. And I think within 20 years, the technology will be there for you to print your own, literally print your own AR-15 at home. Because there are 3D metal printers now. They're not cheap. They're tens of thousands of dollars. But you can print titanium in virtually anything, Inconel as well. So it's
even if you do purchase those machines, they're registered. Follow you no matter what. Because to me, if there's registered when you buy them, so the government is already going to know you have the capability in your home. You're going to be flagged anyway. So to me, I think it's a slippery slope. But a lot of things that they're doing, Congress and our representatives and our legislators, it's a slippery slope where they, little by little, if we're not paying attention, is taking that right away. Just like Florida did. If you go to the doctor and you say you have a mental health issue, you will be flagged where you lose a little bit of your Second Amendment right. They're doing it the very sneaky way, and somebody need to combat it or sue back at them.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, I believe that 3D printers, not just plastic ones, because plastic ones are all over the place now. The prices are down in the sub $500 range for some of them. Then obviously they're not printing sturdy things at that price point. But ultimately, I think within 20 years, probably even closer to 10, we're going to see a ton of people. In probably 20 years, we will wind up seeing functional 3D printers in a house, just like you would see a scanner printer right now in pretty much everybody's house. I think it's going to become as prolific as everybody has computers and cell phones and everything else. I mean, they're just going to have them. So,
so we're kind of like, I think we're kind of like going at a couple of things all at once, and they're a little bit related. I think there is a relationship between, I know Shopify, I think, also shut down, I think they shut down what's the name of that guy that was doing the 3D gun stuff? I'm trying to pull that up right now.
Oh, yeah, I feel horrible. I can't remember his name. The guy.
I don't know. I'm looking it up.
Distributed. Let me Google his thing. I remember the company's Defense Distributed.
Yeah, I think it's Cody. Is it Cody Wilson?
Yes.
Cody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cody Wilson.
Yeah. So so I think they shut him. I think they shut him down as well. So there definitely ties. I think what's tying all these companies together here, like I said, is that you have all these companies that exist now in this new world, right? That they're making money, and they also have agendas that they're pushing forward, social justice agendas. And what's happening is that they're getting together, and things that they couldn't get by getting Hillary elected, because they couldn't get Hillary elected. You know, they couldn't get more liberals, they couldn't get more socialists into our government. So these are workarounds that they have, and I think they always planned on doing this. We've seen this for years. A lot of what's happening right now, we've known it was coming. None of it's new. We all know it's coming. I see people out there, whenever we mention that that Congress might take a look at this and declare these things utilities, they're like, no, we don't want that. And I think I agree with that. I don't want that. I want people to be able to practice free commerce. So the flip side of that is, if we know that, when there's companies out there that say, hey, we're going to get into the business and we're going to try to, we're going to create our own YouTube-like platform, our own Facebook-like platform. We're going to make our version of Shopify, or we're going to make our version of Spotify, for that matter. For people still are asking what's Shopify. It's basically just an app that works through your website if you're doing e-commerce, and it helps your website to work better and be able to collect the monies. So I think that so there's companies out there on our side that are trying to start these businesses. And for the most part, they all fail. Okay. Or they all have tough times. The biggest reason is that we don't support them. We've tried to support them. We can't get this thing out of them. We can't get that thing. There's all kinds of different things involved here. On our side of the industry, a lot of us are way behind technology. We're not, we don't have the vision and all that kind of stuff that maybe these guys have. And then we don't want to get in there and support them because we want to still be on Facebook. We still want to be on YouTube. We want to do this thing. We want to do that thing. So we're kind of like stuck between a rock and a hard place here where we're saying, okay, government, we don't want the government to come in and make laws about this. And at the same time, we need to make our own stuff, but then we have to support our own stuff. Lucretia, this is a lot like in the Black community, right?
That's why I'm laughing. That's why I'm smiling and laughing. It's called the crab mentality. And like you said, the Black community, okay, well, you're complaining that the Koreans or whoever has the weave shops, you're complaining about them, but you got the next Black entrepreneur down the street and you wanna hook up or a handout. Now you want to go into another person's store and do that. That's a foreigner, but you'll make sure you do your own kind dirty. And that's why I was laughing, because I can literally tell you examples of that.
Yeah, well, I think it's the same thing that happens there in Black communities when Black people try to start businesses and they have a tough time because other Black people don't really want to support them, or is this thing or that thing. I think it's the same thing happening with us in the gun community. We're no different here. We're going into it and people are starting it. We're like, oh, they're too ghetto. I like how Instagram works better than this thing. I like how that works better than this thing. There has to be at least 50 million of us out there. Like
last time I heard there was 67 million and they still hadn't finished counting because there's so many people on the hashtag walk away. So they running this way every day, all day. We just need to learn how to capitalize on it and be straight, real talk, no blowing smoke up people's asses. It's time to get down to the nitty gritty and stop tiptoeing. The PC is out the window. It's time for real talk.
Yeah, I agree with that. Joe, did you want to come in and say something?
Yeah, I was just answering some questions in the chat there. Some of which aren't related to what we're talking about now, but the only thing that's gonna Richard Hughes asked, should we start sending Shopify nasty grams? I think the only thing that's going to get Shopify's interest is if it hits them in the bottom dollar, right? So I'm sure before they took this position, they looked and they said, all right, we're getting this amount of money from firearms companies, right, or accessories, things like that. They figured that out and they worked it into their algorithms and they said, all right, we can absorb that hit, right? To take this stand, whatever they want, they can absorb that financial hit. However they think that's going to work with them, curry good favor, who knows? I would assume they made that financial calculation before they did it. What needs to happen, though, is companies that do believe in freedom and liberty and the right to keep and bear arms need to move off of Shopify's platform as much as they can, who aren't involved in that as well. Now, obviously, like we've talked about some other companies, they invest tens of thousands of dollars into some of this stuff. Can a company just be like, all right, well, I'm done with Shopify and move on, and then then drop, another, tens of thousands of dollars building up another platform? That's another problem in and of itself. I don't know. Shopify's in a unique position with their dominance in the app.
Well, because they work so good. It works so well. But you know what? The thing is that you don't need something. So if you want an alternative to Facebook, if you want an alternative to YouTube, you want an alternative to Shopify, Spotify, this thing, that thing, you don't have to get 100% of that, especially if you're in the camp of, oh, there's no way, I don't want the government to declare these things utilities. I think we should have that conversation separately. But, if you want the alternative, you have to support the alternative, and you have to get rid of your expectation for that alternative to be at 100% of whatever else it is you're coming over from. You may only get 60 or 70%. Go ahead.
You know, we are creatures of habit. Most people, once they're comfortable with something, they don't want to step out of their comfort zone to try something new. Anyway, if you're a young entrepreneur that's already starting out in the field, why don't you diversify in the first place? Why would you just have one platform like Shopify? Wouldn't you go out there and have different platforms? You putting all your eggs in one basket. To me, that that's something you have to think about.
Yeah. I don't think it's that easy. I don't think it's that easy. And I think it goes back to the conversation of why should these places, potentially be declared utilities. So if you have an e-commerce site, okay, and you want to be able to collect money and do promote, because if you're selling something, you need to be able to collect money. You need to be able to promote the fact that you're selling something, all those traditional things that apply to if you had a brick and mortar and then some. So if there's one app that works great with all of that, with all of those things, it makes the most sense for you to use that app. And this is where the thing of it becoming a utility comes into place. So if you started a brick and mortar business today in your town, you guys, we're all in 3 different towns. In your town, how many electric companies do you have? Because in my town, at the most, there's maybe 2.
I got 4.
Okay, so you've got limited options of which electric companies you want to go to, right? So so that's what a utility is. If you want to turn on the water, there's only so many people that you could go to and turn on the electricity and turn on the water. And that's what a utility is. And so in this brave new world of ours, there's just certain apps or certain platforms that work the best. Those people have cornered the market on that. And you either, yes, if it would be great if you had an option that you could go to and there was competition. I believe in all of that stuff. But in a lot of the cases, and specifically in this one with Shopify, it's very close to being the only game in town.
But did you just say that the headquarters was in Canada? It's in Canada. It's not the United States, honey. They're not gun-friendly zone. What did you expect to happen? Sometimes
but a lot of stuff right. Well, a lot of stuff we're consuming is not in America. It's in China.
Exactly, but at least they don't have that restriction or trying to restrict us because they money. Canada is more of a social justice nation. Okay, that whole nation up there, all the 4 different ones up there, it's just social. Look at who Trudeau is. You got the representative. Put it like this: get out the creature of comfort. Step out your comfort zone and give somebody else a chance.
So, do you think if an American company came up with a Shopify, and I guarantee you there's an American company that's a Shopify rival. If there's an American company that's a Shopify rival, what makes you think that they're not social justice warriors?
Yeah, you already named it. It's called Amazon. Come on. It's other things out there. Shopify. Yeah,
but they're all thinking the same way. They're all thinking the same way. The only alternative that we're going to get in down the path that we're talking about is if gun people or pro-Second Amendment or people who believe in the Constitution or human beings that exist out there and they don't give a crap and they're like, look, I just want to make money.
Yeah.
I don't care what people's political beliefs are and all that. That's the only way we're going to do it. But that's not what's running these companies. That's not what we have. We don't have that.
Well, you have a lot of followers. So why don't you just ring the alarm? You got a lot of followers out there that are Second Amendment, straight Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the Declaration. Give the call of alarm. Ring the alarm. You got that platform. God given you this platform to get out there and be like, hey, anybody out there follow me? Here's an idea. Let's get it together. Let's brainstorm. Let's figure it out. You know where the richest place is on earth? The graveyard, because most people are scared to use their intuitions and their abilities of what God has already placed in front of them to step out there on faith. You got the following. You do it.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Lucretia. I have your philosophy. I think I have been doing that. I know Joe is the same way. I've been like this message that I'm giving here is a message that I've been given from the beginning. I drive Lola crazy. I've been talking about this for years. I've tried to talk to people that have companies, people that have money. I've tried to talk to the audience. I've tried to do this thing or that thing. It's not an easy thing to do. And you're overestimating what kind of audience I have. The people who are listening to me are awesome people, but we don't have millions of people listening to us. And on top of that, the bigger problem that we have, so in our community, the gun guys out there that are bigger on YouTube, the guys who are like 500,000, 1 million, and several million subscribers and followers on social media that are gun guys, they make, no matter what restrictions are put on them, they're still making money. So they don't really care. They're not really going to mess with any, like, so for example, with YouTube, the guys who are that big are not really going to mess with YouTube if they're making 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 a month, even with all the restrictions that YouTube is putting in place. They're just not going to mess with it. They're going to go, you know what? I'm just going to like back off and still keep collecting money. It's going to be the folks like myself that are smaller that don't have that much to lose. They're going to say, screw this.
Yeah.
That's just the reality
like you that has everything to lose, not only their rights, their children's rights, and their grandparents' rights. Because if it wasn't people out there like us ringing the alarm and getting out there on the forefront, then we would be the millionaires that's backing away because they don't want to rock the boat. It takes people like us to rock the boat and wake people up in the first place. And that's when I say you sound the alarm. Don't be a defeatist. That's the left-hand side. We are warriors because we have the guns behind us to support us.
Okay, I agree with that, Joe.
Yeah, I think so. I see a few folks in the comments saying don't patronize businesses that use Shopify. This literally just happened. So keep in mind that that there are a lot of great businesses out there that are freedom-loving companies that are just waking up and finding out, this week that Shopify has gone off the deep end, so to speak. So before you want to apply any pressure to any businesses that are currently using Spotify, understand they've got probably tens of thousands of dollars invested into what they've built up. And you can't just say, oh, well, we're not going to use you until you change. Let them take some time to digest what's happened and start working on an alternative. Because the only person you're really going to be hurting is that business, because most of these people are small businesses. So keep that in mind. And if you prefer not to, don't shop on their online app, whatever their apps are there, go buy directly from their website, let's say, right? Mm-hmm. So there are some ways to funnel a little bit away from that. Just keep in mind that, a number of companies, be it, Spikes Tactical, whether or not they, however they get banned from the 177069, whatever these companies are, keep in mind that, they're great companies that just had the rug pulled out from under them, so to speak. It's not their fault, and they just can't flip the switch and immediately move over overnight.
Here's the problem with if we boycott everything. We will starve. We will die. We will not exist. Who do we have left to boycott?
Why boycott in the first place? If you don't buy the products, just don't buy the products, but continue doing what you got. What's up with the boycott? That sounds like a left-leaning thing. Stop boycotting every day. They boycott us. Stop boycotting people. Netflix, how many of us giving up Netflix and chill? Honey, I'm 44 and I still love Netflix and chill. I just want to watch the television shows. Some things we make a big cry about nothing.
Right. Or if you're going to watch Netflix, support things that you want to watch, and the other things, give them the lowest rating possible and move on. Because there isn't a conservative Netflix, people. There's not like we could get mad at Walmart. We can get mad at this thing. We can get mad. I get it. Like I get mad at stuff too. And I'm like, okay, I'm not buying that stuff anymore. The thing is that we will starve ourselves. We will remove all the oxygen. And in the end, those people are going to win. I think the way around this, the way forward, the way around it, I think is not even around it. It's like through it. We have to go through it, and we have to go right at it. And every single thing they try to hit us with, we've got to come up with something else. I think that they're already kind of like platforms that exist that we could buy stuff from. And what needs to happen? See, look, some of this, like for example, with Spikes Tactical, some of this needs to happen. This needs to happen where companies out there that have the resources go, you know what, screw this.
Right.
And they look around and they see who's already doing something and they go talk to those guys and they're like, okay, wait a second. I think you guys are smart. What do you need to build this better, make it better? Then get on that. And then what we could do is go support them there. So if you want to buy your Spikes tactical stuff, you go there. If you want to, you know, the 3D Cody Wilson, the 3D gun guy, he should move from that to a different platforms. There's things that exist out there that are just not perfect, and we have to try to do that. I've been trying to do that in my own little way. I see Psycho 316 says Hank, aka Mr. Audi, is the rich one in the community. The thing you have to realize is that the Audi is the reason why I'm broke. Don't ever. Rich guys don't have nice shit. What's that? What are you showing?
Drive your Audi.
Yeah, so it looks like they've banned Franklin Armory, but they're gonna ban all these guys.
Yeah, so
they're gonna ban all these guys. I'm getting that message right now from I'm getting that message right now from my friends at Franklin Armory. Yeah, that they've also been banned. Well, this is the time, people. All these companies out there, Franklin Armory, Spikes Tactical, all the other companies are going to get hit. By the time you wake up tomorrow, there's going to be 1,000 or 10,000 companies on that list. All of your asses need to stop bullshitting around, sitting on the fence, get off the fence, look around and find out the companies that have a platform that you could sell things through, and that those companies are pro-Constitution, pro-Second Amendment. Go to them. Then the folks like myself and Joe, Lucretia, everyone else out there in the social media world, we will put out your name as much as possible so everyone can go to your platform and do commerce. This is the way to deal with it. It's the way that I look at what happened with Alex Jones and what's happening with people losing their channels and videos getting deleted. While I was on my trip several weeks ago, I took time, instead of coming home to my family, which I missed, I took time to go to Salt Lake City and talk to the guys who run Gunstreamer, as well as the guys that run YouTube. And I've been talking to those guys. I've been helping in whatever small ways that I can help. I've been trying to promote them and give them ideas and have them come on here, because I can see all of this coming, and it's going to come faster. It's happening even faster than I thought.
Yep.
You know, so the only way to deal with this, as this comes at us, as they say, okay, we're going to pull you guys from being able to sell stuff, we go find someone that has a platform that you can sell things on, and we go, okay, you guys are good. What do you need to make this better? And we start making it better. We start promoting it. We start going there and buying stuff. If it comes to videos, we find people that have a platform. We support them. We tell them what it takes to make things better, and we all start promoting it, and we start going to those platforms. You know, this is the way to deal with this stuff. And I know it's not easy, and I know that the platforms are not going to be as sexy as whatever else it is that we've used in the past. Screw that. It'll get sexy eventually when 50, 60, 100 million of us, half of the country out there that believes in freedom, gets on those things and starts using them.
Well, I'm giving out a shameless plug right now, so I don't even care. Mine is www.libbysouls. Everything that we do, we just small entrepreneurs. I'm not on Shopify, so that's why I was surprised when you said that. We do everything. We are a brick and mortar. We are literally in our warehouse, and we work for ourselves. And not only that, you know, it's to the point that I'm tired of answering to somebody else. We are the land of the free and the home of the brave. If you have ideas, get them out there. Make money off your ideas and off your name. Do what you got to do to survive, and pay for that Audi. I got a Nissan Sentra. Go ahead with that Audi.
Yeah. That's where my money's going. Trust me. No, Lola's been telling me to trade it in. You guys don't even know. Okay, so let me read real quick this message from let me read this, like too many things going on all at one time. So Minden, Nevada, August 14th, 2018, reputable firearms manufacturer and industry innovator. This is a press release from Franklin Armory. Received word late Monday evening that their e-commerce provider Shopify will soon interrupt their lawful commerce of firearms and components due to a sudden change in Shopify's acceptable use policy. The new AUP was presented without warning and included a new definition of restricted items to include flash suppressors, threaded barrels, pistol grips, and even magazines larger than 10 rounds. all of these items are legal to use in a majority of states across the country, yet Shopify is interfering with Franklin Armory's lawful interstate commerce. It goes on. We can send this out. It'll be out there. I think like it's crazy. You guys are going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be every place that we shop from. But I think like Lucretia said, don't despair. This is an awesome thing. This is an awesome thing. This is the impetus that we need. This is the motivation that we need. This is the kick in the ass that we need to get up and get together and put these things together and have our own shit. You know, and I've been spending a lot of time I've spoken to companies, I've spoken to people, I've spoken to like the huge celebrities in our world, trying to say like, we need our own shit. Nobody wants to get on that because everyone has their own thing and their own motivations. And I get it all. But at some point we have to like realize that we need to get together. We all can't do it. We all can't be the boss. I think that's one of the big problems that we have in our industry. Like we're all trying to be alpha and everyone wants to be the one company that everyone else bows down to. I don't even care about that. We need to figure out ways to do this stuff ourselves and insulate ourselves from these guys. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll take 1% of the pie. The world is so big, it's infinite. It's just, I would take 1% of the pie. I'm not trying to be the top dog on the block. You know, I could go ahead and share the wealth in my own pockets. I mean, if there's 4, 5, 10 million other companies, then guess what? I would rather be part of that 10 million company. So stop trying to compete. I mean, I understand competing, but like you said, everybody can't be top dog. Sometimes you're going to have to be the follower and let other people lead and maybe take cues from what they did to become successful. And then you mold and model yourself afterwards. Mm-hmm. So, but seriously, the way y'all are sounding, because I need to do a lot more research on what y'all are saying, it sounds like the CIA is going to start all over again, where you're literally selling guns out of the back of your trunk. You can go to any MLK neighborhood in any town USA and buy you a pistol, because that is exactly what they're doing. They're pushing all these guns underground. They're causing a bigger problem than what needs to happen, because nobody's giving up their weapons.
Joe, I don't want to stop you from getting in. I know I've got a big mouth, so
no. I'm listening to you guys go and just chime in.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to come to that. I don't think it has to come to that. It's too late for these guys trying to crush us and stop us. The internet, there's no one here saying that the internet has gone away. Now,
no,
I have to tell you, that's the next place.
You really think the internet is going away?
No, I don't think it's going away, but I think the next place is to limit our access to the internet, and there's ways around that. They can't stop any of this. The genie is out of the bottle. The genie's out of the bottle.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They can't stop the internet, but what they can do for and the problem comes for not necessarily for folks like us. It's for the average mainstream American, right? So what they're trying to do is they know, well, I don't know if they don't know that they can't stop us or not, but what ultimately I believe what the goal for the people who do understand what's going on and who are orchestrating some of what's happening, they understand that if they can limit the access of information to people who don't know already, then they can stop what's happening from continuing to grow and expand. Just like if you were to be able to cut off anyone turning 18 years of age from understanding, what makes owning firearms so important, for example, within a generation or two, the pie of people who actually know and care has shrunk dramatically. And I think that's their goal. It's not necessarily to stop us from preaching to the choir. It's to alienate and eliminate new people from joining our ranks and coming up into this. And I think they're going to fail.
Segregate us. It's to segregate us. Now we are all about to see what it felt like in America all the way up to the 60s and 70s.
Yeah. And I
we're about to see what that felt like in America.
Preach it.
I think they're going to fail miserably, and they're going to drive more people away than they prevent from getting in, because the younger folks, and you see all these different things. There's this clip about, I forget the comedian's name, about millennials, and they're always on their phones and they're irresponsible, whatever. And I look at that and I say to myself, and I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, well, he's definitely a baby boomer. He's probably right on the cusp. He may be of the silent generation, which is kind of that gap in between baby boomers and the greatest generation. And I'm looking at this guy thinking to myself, all right, so you're railing that 18 to 22-year-olds, don't have a lot of money, they're broke, whatever the case may be. All right, well, you and your generation have put the country into $21 trillion in debt. What's worse, $21 trillion in debt, or a guy 18 to 22 years old, or a lady 18 to 22 years old who doesn't have a lot of money? I would say that younger person is a hell of a lot better off than you who bankrupted him.
And you know what? That's a misnomer. When you sit there and say that we're $21 trillion in debt, that's what they're telling you. We actually have over $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities. The only reason why the balance in our balance book within the United States is because of BLM. They have done a land grab so huge within the United States in the last 20 years. Why do you think the Bureau of Land Management, that's the only thing that's keeping us from being flipped upside down? So all this quantitative easing, all this debt and more indebtedness and all more indebtedness, we need to stop before we completely go bankruptcy. Because if you don't remember, during the Obama administration, the Moody Foundation lowered our credit rating in the first place. Sometimes we got to stop spending and start paying attention.
Yeah, I try not to go down those rabbit holes, especially in short conversations like this, because it's a lot for people to take in. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot out there. And the other point is, the younger folks, they're into guns. Millennials, people turning 18 years of age, they are into guns. They are more likely to be in favor of, or I should say, they're more likely to be opposed to an assault weapons ban than people who are 50 and older. So I think there's a lot of, for the first time in a while, I see a lot of hope moving forward. As far as the younger generations coming up and doing what the older generations should have done.
Yeah, I don't think that this is a horrible thing in the long run. I think that no matter what, people can see most people, there's always going to be some people that don't see it. Most people can see when someone's trying to lead them into tyranny, into slavery. Okay. Even though we could say that people have been dumbed down in our time, there's just too much knowledge, too much available for people. I think what's happening here with these companies is this is probably one of their last attempts to try to take over, right? This is what they have. They have this power. They're going to try to take over. The thing is that what are they going to stop? They might stop commerce for gun companies for a day, a week, a couple of weeks. But we are living in the electronic age. Anyone who doesn't want to realize that is soon to leave this world. We're living in the electronic age. I kind
of have to disagree with you on one thing, Hank, because you're around my age. We got crackhead babies walking around now. Those crackhead babies are having babies, and those babies are having babies, and now we got the opioids having babies. So you got to remember, we got the crackheads walking in our society now, the same crackheads spending money, making decisions, and passing laws. So some people you're never going to reach, but the ones like the FAA, those the ones we need to pay attention to. If your kids are in the Scouts, pull them out. Please get them out, the Girls and Boy Scout. That is so UN in agenda. They're going to start taking away how to offend yourself, how to properly use a gun, how to do survival in the wilderness. It's no longer going to be about that. It's going to be more about how to obey our laws and how to be social justice warriors. Remember when you say that we don't have nothing to worry about? Well, we got the crackhead babies to worry about because they're the same age or maybe 10 years less than we are. That's the next generation.
Okay, definitely there are some zombies out there, I think, walking around. But I think if this is what pushes us into having our own things, to building our own networks, our own platforms, having our own outlets, ultimately, it's going to do us better. It's going to make us better. It's going to make us stronger. And a lot of these things are going to put themselves out of business. The principles that they believe is going to put them out of business. If we separate into camps in America, right? So if you could just imagine this as America splits and separates into camps, and on our side, you have the people who believe that they can, like, we could stand up and solve our own problems and we could fend for ourselves and all that kind of stuff. You have us over here, and you have these guys in what they believe is socialism, communism, etc. That's where those crackhead babies are going to go to. They're not coming at us. They're going to go to those guys.
And some of those crackhead babies are sitting on the bench. Look what happened yesterday. You got a training camp out there in New Mexico. You have 11 kids, 2, 3, 4 adults, and you're allowing this man to go free while you training them to shoot up our next school. We have problems when it comes to judges. We have problems when it comes to lawyers, and we have problems when it comes to the representatives of the United States. I have a problem with a known terrorist whose father was a part of the first World Trade Center bombing. Then now you're going to let him and his cohorts walk free? I have a problem with that. You can't blame us on the right anymore if you're going to allow trash like that back into our society.
So just explain to the folks out there that don't know what you're talking about. Excuse me, talking about the judge that gave these guys low bail and released them.
Well, actually, some of them has low bails, and some of them just could sign their names and walk the heck up out of there.
Yeah, and these are the people that were training children. The government says that they were training children to attack schools, right?
Exactly. You got to remember, the youngest child was 4, the oldest was 15. There was 11 kids, and it was literally training them for the next school shooting. That's the same thing as Parkland. When you're telling your own deputy to stand down, what the heck do you think is going to happen next? And y'all putting legislation and regulations on us to be able to not protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that in these cases, that judge has a bigger problem than that. I mean, ultimately, the people have to deal with these judges that are empowered, able to do those things, and I think we'll see that. I haven't been able to talk about this, but here, let me share this with you guys really quick. Here, I'm gonna throw this up in the chat. Just bear with me 1 second, so you guys can look at this. I threw it there in the chat. Let me also put it in the chat so folks here that are watching us can see this. But basically, I'm going to read this headline to you. West Virginia's entire Supreme Court just got impeached. West Virginia's
they impeached him?
Yeah.
Wow.
West Virginia's House of Delegates has impeached all 4 of the state Supreme Court justices who allegedly abused their authority and used taxpayer funds for personal gain. 14 articles of impeachment were brought up against Chief Justice Margaret Workman and Justices Alan Lowry, Robin Davis, and Elizabeth Walker of the Supreme Court of Appeals, West Virginia. 11 of these articles were officially adopted last night and this morning, putting the justices' fate in the hands of the state Senate. Davis has already retired from her post. Another former justice, Menace Ketchum, resigned last month and admitted to defrauding the state. And this goes on and on. It's a deep thing. But guess what? We've got lots of this, and the people are catching up to the bullshit.
I'm talking about this tonight. Thank you so much for bringing it up, because when I first heard about it, I heard about it last week, where they was putting in articles of impeachment for the judge when it came. It's the same thing with Omarosa. You can't touch stuff if you don't have appropriating funds. Come on and do the rest of the swamp that way. If you could get a whole Supreme Court bench, I'm sure there's a lot more out there that need to be drained.
That is
wow.
I'm reading through this. I mean, you've got these Supreme Court justices who are taking desks, like a desk, out of their office and home. I mean, yeah, it's not like, you're taking a couple paper clips and sticking them in your pocket. They wheeled out a freaking desk. And you got these, Davis spent $500,000 to renovate her office. Other ones spent upwards of $100,000. This renovation, that renovation, $32,000 on a couch for their office. $32,000 couch. What the? I mean, it's just insane. It is.
Yes, there's more of this going on around the country.
Sure.
Richard Hughes says those judges need to pay and go to jail. I think there needs to be stiffer penalties in America when you misuse or abuse the trust of the people. Absolutely. In such an egregious manner. I've been saying that for a long time. As my friend Walter Keller would say if he was here, and I can't believe I'm saying this, string them up. String them up. You know, there you go. People need to start getting put on firing squads and stuff like that again to stop doing this kind of stuff. But you know, I think I've wanted to talk about that for a while, but I think that that's just an indication, and the first one that we're seeing of people catching up to what's going on.
Well,
and what's happening with the court system.
It up. Thank you for bringing it to our attention, because I was wondering what happened to that case. I will be talking about that tonight. I can't clown on your show, but I can clown on mine, and I'm clowning on all those judges.
Oh, we can do anything. Anything is open. No, all bets are off here.
We mentioned earlier about that about the we'll just call it what it is: extremist Muslims training young kids to shoot up schools. And and I listened to I haven't dug down into all the articles and details on it, but I was listening just before this to Michelle Malkin's got a video out there. It's actually pretty succinct about, she hits a bunch of high points on it. And it's also a good way to share it if you have folks that are not the same mental persuasion you are, and are more, you know, head in the clouds, you know, type folks. Sharing that video of her is not a bad idea, because, you know, she comes off as really kind of polite and demure, and not quite as over the edge as some folks. But and sometimes you need that to reach some folks, because there are some folks that I work with that, you know, they're, you know, if I send them a link to something that I do, you know, or try, you know, they're like, oh, you know. But anyway, she comes across as pretty eloquent. All of us reach different. There's a lot of overlap between us, but we all reach different segments differently than others. And everybody has their strong suits of who they somewhat appeal to more than others. And I think it's important for everyone to understand what was happening there. I mean, I can't understand where the judge, unless it was some kind of legal loophole that they had to do, I can't understand how the guy who was running this thing, they found the remains of his son on the property, his younger son.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, they found remains of his son on the property. So how they weren't able to hold him on that, I don't, unless there was some sort of egregious error in how law enforcement went about executing their warrants and whatnot, and there's some kind of technical loophole.
Yeah, there's no way. The question of these guys being released should not even be a question.
No, it shouldn't be a question. You're talking about terrorists. I mean, true, not like, you know, random who's it, you know, oh, I don't like this person, but true terroristic threats, true intent, training, associations, all the way down the line. This isn't just some circumstantial evidence or, you know, metadata and a few emails or something. I mean, this is every single point you would hit on for a conspiracy to commit a true act of terror. Not like, you know, oh, you know, but a true act of terror and mass murder was hit. Everything. I mean, legally, I cannot wrap my mind around that for the life of me. And of course,
well, you know, their attorney actually claimed that it was racism, the reason why they was in jail in the first place. No, is the evidence of you having 11 kids in deplorable conditions. It was a point that your father, conspiracy or not, was part of the very first World Trade Center bombing. Not only that, you kidnapped your son out of the state of Georgia to do an exorcism on him. Everything points to them forever being locked up, but you allow them to walk. This better not be another workplace violence situation.
Yeah, it's just.
I think the people here need to look. They need to look at the judge. I think I've seen articles saying that this is what this judge does. He has a history of this. People need to pay attention. Pay attention to these judges and what they're up to and what they're doing, and hold everyone accountable. This is how you control. If you feel like there's things going out, spinning out of control in your town, in your city, in your local areas, this is why you vote. You have the power to take these people out of office, to put people in that are going to look at them, people who will pay attention to what they're doing. So, you know, you have to do this, and it's terrible. I don't know why that's even a question of whether or not those guys should get out. Of course they shouldn't. We don't care about their feelings or if they're suffering. You know, they need to lock those people down, because guess what? What happens if they're out and they do more damage to more children and more people out there? Then what?
It's guaranteed to do more damage. They are radical Islamic extremists. That's rule number one. You either kill or convert infidels. So they already is out to gun us down, and you got an ass wipe like this judge allowing them to go free. And she should have blood on her hands if anything happens, and I'm sick. She needs to be held responsible. Nobody else. And those ass wipes too. I can't believe she released them. I'm waiting for them to kill someone. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. So let's look up. Let's make sure we look this up and see if they're actually all released. I'm just trying to like check the news on this one and make sure that these guys are, are they in custody or not in custody? I just want to make sure of this before we let's see. So the state judge who on Monday set a $20,000 bail for 5 defendants arrested at a remote New Mexico compound where authorities say children were being trained to conduct school shootings has a history of issuing low bail to violent offenders. Judge Sarah Backus, an elected Democrat, ordered the 2 men and 3 women to wear ankle monitors, have weekly contact with their attorneys, and not consume alcohol or own firearms while on bail. So I'm just trying to see whether they're actually out or not out.
So I see here that Judge Sarah Backus of the Second Judicial District Court in New Mexico set bail for each of the 5 adults at $20,000. And her reasoning was that prosecutors didn't mention any, quote, specific threat they posed to the community.
Really?
That was her justification, because there wasn't a specific threat.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm not clear. I would have to. I mean, it's tough to look at the news and pull all that stuff up here at the same time. So yeah, I think the people in New Mexico need to take a closer look at the judges that they have over there, man.
Well, don't forget, one of them will be extradited back to Georgia. So we're not worried about it. He's going to be in jail and not be getting out anytime soon. So the one that kidnapped his 4-year-old son and took him over there to that camp, well, the state of Georgia is coming after your ass. So you might have an ankle bracelet where you will be extradited back to Georgia. You kidnapped your own child.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen I think there's going to be a lot. This story is probably going to get deeper and deeper. And speaking of stories getting deeper and deeper, do we want to talk about Omarosa? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I'm going hard on her tonight too.
Oh, Joe, I don't know if you have anything. Let's see if Joe has anything to say about this yet, Joe.
So all I saw earlier was the blurb come across. I don't know if it was my AP feed or Breaking 911 or what it was. Mm-hmm. About allegedly, and I don't know any of the circumstances, but an N-word was dropped. And that was allegedly Trump said it, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've been saying that for a long time. So
yeah,
at some point we're going to either see that come out or maybe not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's been the accusation has been out there for a while. Is it true or not? I have no idea. I mean, there's, eventually, and this is my concern with Trump. My real true concern with Trump is eventually, let's say he does something really egregious. Let's say he does something bad. None of us on the right, at least, are probably going to believe it, because we're going to think it's another one of these attempts just to defame him and try and pigeonhole him, right? We're not going to believe it. So if he actually does something bad, we're not going to believe it. And that's the problem with all these damn people crying wolf over Trump all the time.
What are you actually talking about? We're talking about Omarosa. That bitch deserved what she got. Now, what you talking about?
All right, so I played it. I kind of moved sideways a little bit, but I mean, there's
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
I really don't know who I don't know a lot about her. So, I mean, I really can't necessarily.
I do. She's a bitch. Okay. That
was I see.
Nice
okay. So first of all, wait. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Lucretia. I have seen in your pictures. I'm gonna lock it on Lucretia. Joe, check this out for a second.
Okay.
Look, Lucretia's pictures that are scrolling in the background. I have seen Omarosa scroll in the back, or Omarosa, whatever her name is.
Oh, that was me. That's Janine Borelli.
No, okay. No, that's who's that right there? Who's that?
Janine Borelli.
Oh,
Borelli. Hey, shame on you.
Okay, my bad. I'll take the blame on that one. Okay, I thought that. I don't know. I thought it's a blurry picture, so whatever. I'll take all the blame for it. Okay, so do you know Omarosa? Yes, you. Yeah.
I'm black, dude. Okay, big brother, apprentice, bitch. Omarosa. She got fired from the Clinton found when she was working under the Clinton White House under Al Gore. Who don't know? It's Omarosa. Okay.
Okay, wait. She worked for the Clinton White House. I didn't even know that.
She worked under Gore, and she got fired for egregious integrity issues. If you can't even work under the Gore Clinton White House, you've been awful for a very long time, chick. You like Hillary Clinton getting fired from the Nixon administration.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, I know that I know this whole thing broke yesterday, or was it? No, it was over the weekend. And then I guess last night or whatever, the president was dropping bombs.
Right, technically, he didn't drop a bomb. He called her a dog. I called her even worse last night. We're talking about Omarosa. Do I believe Omarosa before I believe Trump? I mean, all the left wing, every newscast, every hateful Democrat, every black person hated this woman, has always hated her. She's the token bitch on every reality television show. Come on, it's like Omarosa. He said that he called everybody a nigga. Yeah, I ain't believing you, chick. You a drama queen. That's the type of a girl that your baby brother falls in love with and you want to put in a headlock. That is who Omarosa is, okay? That auntie that you hate because she's bougie as hell like that and she keeps drama started in the family. That's Omarosa. Okay, some of y'all white people probably ain't got no idea what the hell I'm talking about, but it's in the black community.
Joe, do you have any idea? Joe's our token white guy here on the panel.
Yes.
Do you have a clue, Joe?
I will do my best to not disappoint. I guess they're saying that I don't know. There was a tape, but now there's not a tape, or I guess someone lost it. I guess there's yet another story.
We'll see.
I just scrolled through to try and see if I could find anything recent. And 2 hours ago, I guess they're saying now that they're not going to be able to get a tape, but their dog comment is over the edge, and I didn't hear that either. To be quite honest, I've tuned out a lot of this stuff on Trump just because it's always something, and it normally never turns out to be anything, which is kind of what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, the people are going to get fatigued. Eventually, no one's going to pay attention. It's pretty much what happened during the election. I agree with you on it that, they came down so hard on Trump during the election that they actually promoted him to being president.
I think so. Yeah.
They actually became part of it. The media, who's all mad about it, is still doing the same thing that they did that helped him become president. And on top of that, like I agree with Chad N made this comment. He said Trump showed poor judgment of character by ever allowing Omarosa anywhere near his administration. So, Lucretia, do you agree with that? Can we at least get that from you? Can you at least say that Trump showed poor judgment here?
I 100% agree, but you know what? She should have been kicked to the curb along. She's just one of those people that you love to hate because she stirs up. That's the type of person that you can get secrets from, and that's the woman in the neighborhood that knows everybody's drama, but there's nothing about her out there. If y'all know Omarosa, then y'all ought to know, you know what? He called her a dog. I would have called her a bitch, because that's exactly who Omarosa is. Talking about there's a tape out there, okay? I ain't heard no tape.
So here's the thing. I mean, why did these people not see, like, what did they go, maybe we should get maybe we should get some of the other of millions of people out here that might be qualified for this more than Omarosa. Like, why her? Why her?
Well,
they were asking for trouble.
I heard her today. This is a rumor. That's how rumors get started. They get started by jealous people. He was hitting that. Pow! He was hitting that. Just like Bush was hitting, we're going to go ahead and get on off that subject. But he was probably hitting that. She know how to keep her mouth closed.
Okay. All right. So there you go. You heard it from Lucretia. There you go. What are you going to say, Joe?
That might explain it.
Possibly. Possibly.
Hey, she ain't ugly, okay? I hit that if I was gay, but I ain't gay. But she cute. I mean, I'm sure her body is banging, but I couldn't hold a conversation with her. She would have to put on a paper sack. I couldn't look at her and bang her at the same time.
Well, see, you're not a dude. You're not a dude, Lucretia. Thankfully, you're not a dude. So I'm going to go to Joe for this one. I don't know about you, Joe, but for me, if you can identify crazy puts a blur on any chick's face for me. That's just a thing. So you could be as beautiful as you want to be. If there's crazy, I see that crazy blur on there, and I don't care how good looking you are, what kind of body. None of that means anything to me. So.
Yes, I would agree 100%. I mean, you may make that mistake a couple times when you're younger, but eventually you get bit enough times, you're like, you know what? No.
Yeah, crazy is not worth it.
No, God no, absolutely not. So you would think and hope that, you know, in Trump's lifetime, by the time he got there, he would have realized that. But some people learn lessons harder than others.
Yeah, I guess there's just some dudes. All right, we can move on. I don't know. Did we lose Lucretia?
No.
Okay, she's there. She's still there. Okay, cool. We can move on. We can move on for a bit. So what do you guys, Joe, do you have any news thing that you want to jump in and talk about before?
No, the thing that I wanted to talk about was that Muslim shooting school, basically.
Okay.
And I think we covered that. So that was the thing, because the more information that came out on that today that I heard about anyway was, was wild. Okay. But yeah, other than that, I think that's, and the Shopify thing, obviously we already covered. So
yeah. I don't know, Lucretia, do you have any other things before? I'm going to get into some gun stuff. We should probably get into some gun stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, y'all get into some gun stuff because my mind has went left field. So I'm trying to stay out of trouble.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay. You're fine with us. You're fine with us. We're not mad. The Truth About Guns has this article. 15-year-old girl with a gun saves her family from a violent attacker threatening to kill them. So this past Wednesday, a North Carolina woman named Chandra Neerman was being choked and beaten by her boyfriend, Stephen Kelly, in plain view of her 3 children. Kelly threatened to slit the woman's throat and kill everyone in the house. That was all the woman's kid, one son, age 12, and 2 daughters, age 15 and 16, needed to hear. The boy went and got his mother's gun. The 15-year-old took the gun from him, took aim at Kelly and fired twice, killing him. One of the bullets fragmented and grazed her sister's leg, but fortunately the injury was minor. The girl was hospitalized, treated, and released the next day. A fate much better than what might have happened.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
I think it's fantastic. I also think it's one of the reasons why I am opposed to some of these strict access requirements preventing minors from accessing firearms. I have a lot of issues with that. I would say that for most states, under most laws, and I'm not a lawyer, so do what you want with it, but you know how you can put a fire extinguisher behind glass in your house? Or you've seen fire extinguishers behind like those breakable glass panes. They're locked in there, but if you hit it with the little thing, the plastic or glass shatters, you got access to the fire extinguisher.
Yes.
If you live in a state that has laws with those restrictions for anyone under, you know, whatever age it is, and you feel, again, case specific, this is not all things considered, but if you feel like this 15-year-old girl was responsible enough to be able to save her family's life, possibly, arranging your firearm in such a fashion so that they can't get access to it without breaking it, you know, quote unquote, in a reasonable fashion and time period, may be an option for you to be able to comply with the law at the same time, not leave your family defenseless, you know, if you have a 15 or 16 or 17-year-old at home. So anyway, that's where I fall on those. And I think there's a lot of unintended consequences when you start getting into these broad brush laws and zero tolerance and all these other things that can try and prevent and stop people from being able to defend themselves.
Okay, Lucretia, what do you think?
Slow clap. Well done, Dad. Well done, Mom. Well done, any elder in her life that showed her and taught her to defend herself and her family. So you know what? Counsel law, stand your ground. Kudos to you, young woman. Sorry, it's gonna mess with your head for the rest of your life, but at least you protect yourself first. So I'll give that little girl kudos for what she did.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. This is the reason why we must maintain our freedoms. You know, as you guys are saying, so that, you know, these girls don't have to go. I mean, someone could be going to all of their funerals, you know, but definitely they could have all been going to the funeral and they could have witnessed their mother being taken out, you know, taken off the planet. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. You know, this is what people say doesn't really exist, and they want to tell us. And you know, and something that's slightly bad happened here, that there was a ricochet and one of them got hit. But I think, as the article said, it's way better than what could have happened.
Absolutely.
So, you know.
And no offense, you're gonna protect your mom. I don't care where you are, how old you ever get. Your mom comes first in your life. And if you see a man hitting on your mom or literally beating on your mom, you're gonna jump in, no matter if you're a little child or a grown man. So kudos to that girl, and I hope that she's gonna need therapy, and I hope they get her therapy afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if there's any other. Let me see. I'm looking for this. There's probably some other stuff. I don't know if the folks out there have something they want to talk about. Should we just jump into Gorn? How about some Gorn? How about that?
So. Yes. Yeah,
let's do some Gorn. Lucretia, do you have some, or are you?
No, I'm following your lead. My phone just, you know, the video started lagging and I just turned the camera off. So I'm just following y'all lead. What is that? What did he just pull out? Go on with your bad self. That's porn. Go ahead and play that porn. I like that. What the music at?
This is one of my home defense firearms here, my PS90. It's in a tactical wall shelf up there. You guys have seen this before, but there's something new here, which is this folding charging handle here. And I'm going to try and look at the monitor and bring this up so you can see it at the same time. So it's this folding handle here from
K&M Arms
Aerospace, and makes it a little easier. If you see on this side, this is the standard charging handle right here. It comes with. You can put one of those on this side if you wanted to, but I'm right-handed, so I charge with my left hand. And this, when you pull this back, and this is the loaded magazine, so I'm not going to throw it back in here while I'm talking about it, but when you pull this back, there's a little nub on the end of the magazine that you can rack your fingers on with the standard one. Now, I mean, I like the fact that it's ambidextrous, and you know, you can use it on both sides if you wanted to, but it's a pain for your standard hand because there's no bolt hold on this, there's no bolt release. So when you change out magazines, you have to run the bolt every time. So this stands out not too much further on the side. Grab it, it pulls out. It's got a detent in it, so it'll either hold it closed or up, pull it back, let go, and it'll, you know,
it flips down
back into place.
Yeah.
It's well made. I like it. I mean, I need to play with it and mess with it more. But so far, I'm really happy with what we've got up here, and it's a really quick and easy change out. I've also got a trigger spring in from them. I haven't put that in here yet, but this thing so far, I really like it. I think it's well made. It feels good, and it's got a little bit of texturing on it as well for your hand here. So I'm pretty pleased with it.
Yeah, can we get a close up? Was that difficult to install? How, you know?
No, very easy. So this will actually pop off. So you can put like a piece of wood on here or anything to just hit it. You know, use a hammer to hit it. You don't want to hit it directly with your hammer because you'll kind of jack it up. But put like a piece of wood on there, something like that, and it'll pop off. And you can always put it back on later. And then there's a little set screw.
So just can you hold that up closer? Let's see.
Yeah,
you can hold it up and angle it. I know it's all there. You go.
And we
go sideways on it. There you go. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it sticks out nice and far and gives you a lot of clearance. Folds forward again, and it doesn't stand out that much. I'll give you here. So this is from Homeland Guns, and this is their K-Claw, something along those lines. And this is what I actually had on this side before because this factory handle just sucks. And you can see that sticks out higher. The fixed sticks out just a little bit higher than this does when it's folded. So functional, good upgrade. This is good too, by the way, if you're not looking for something, I think this is like a $22 option, whatever it is, and I think this one's $50, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and this is called the hold on a second because I'm pulling up the page. This is called the Handler from K&M Aerospace.
Yeah,
and I could put a link in the description. I definitely just put one in the chat. But here, I'll go in and put a link in the description of this video for anyone who's interested in it. So it's called the Handler.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well made. It's nice. It's finished well. There's no jagged edges on here or anything. Obviously I got to use it more, test it out longevity wise and stuff like that, and start running it hard. But I'm pleased with what I've seen so far in here. I think they did a good job on it. It's functional, and the black on here matches up with the black up here. If you look at a PS90, there's several different colors on them. The barrel and the slide rails are a different type of phosphate finish than the actual handle up here. So you've got a number of different colors on here anyway. They've matched it up with the color on here pretty well, I feel. So I don't think it looks out of place. The PS90 is one of those weird kind of guns. I mean, I love them to death, but they are one of those weird firearms that you either love them or you hate them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's pretty cool. And let's see what the price is, because I know people are going to ask about the price. It's $50.
I think so.
If you go to that link, or if you're looking it up, I don't know if we're going to be able to put the link for this in the videos everywhere. But anyway, it's kmaerospace.com, and it's called the Handler. It's for the FNP90/PS90, and it's $50. The Handler was developed because we saw a need for a replacement charging handle for the P90/PS90. The folding charging handle is made out of aircraft grade aluminum and anodized to mil spec Type 3. Class 2, there's a ball detent that keeps the handle folded when it's not in use. So there you go. And there's even like there's a link to a YouTube video for instructions. I don't know. I know that actually Ken from K&M Arms, he was K&M Aerospace. I think he moved all his stuff over to YouTube, I believe. So I'm not sure whether
streamer he was going to. I don't know if he did yet.
Yeah, I think he was going to do both of those actually. So very cool.
Yeah. Scrolled away. Somebody asked. I'm sorry, I missed it. It scrolled away already. If the charging handle reciprocates, no, it stays in place. It doesn't reciprocate.
That's just how the PS90 is, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't. This wouldn't change the function of these side rails at all. It just mounts right into the thing here, and then it's held in place by a set screw.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, I'm assuming we still have Lucretia there in the background.
I'm sitting here throwing dollars in the air. Y'all sitting there playing with guns and having porn on TV, so I'm just throwing up dollars in the air.
Oh, nice. Okay, awesome. So in honor of Lucretia being on the show, I figured we should go with something crazy.
Sure.
Let's do this.
So I brought in something crazy. Actually, a couple something. So here you go. You guys can take a look at this.
My sister is in here and she's looking also. Look at that there.
So what do you guys, who knows what this is? I'll let you guys.
The Keltec PMR, is it a Keltec PMR?
Yeah, this is the PMR.
PMR, okay.
The pistol version. This one has the golden barrel threaded. I guess you could put a suppressor on there, although I've heard from Keltec they do not recommend you put a suppressor on it, because this is a pretty lightweight gun, and it's very easy to blow this up. So
that's one way.
Yeah, that's more for like a muzzle device, but you can put a suppressor on it. But it's also capable of doing some damage to the gun. So don't say you were warned. So I've got that. I've got that PMR 30. I've had this one for a long time. Done a bunch of videos about it on the channel. So there you go. And then in this box, I got another one, because this is actually one of my favorite guns that I don't carry it. I wouldn't be like afraid of carrying it or anything. I think it's 22 Magnum, so rimfire. You want to take your time loading. The magazines are 30-round magazines. I probably would go to maybe like 25 rounds. You want to be careful you don't get rim lock and all those things that go along with 22 Magnum being rimfire. But guess what? Look at that. The blue version. The blue version.
Huh.
You know, they should do, I think there's a red one, so you should do red, white, and blue. But there goes the blue one. I couldn't like pass up and not buy the blue one. Haven't even shot this thing.
So it's a functional blue gun.
Yes, it's a functional blue gun. Exactly. Yeah. Very cool. These things are like freaking laser beams. You know, if you load the magazine properly on this and you're shooting this thing, it's really like a laser beam. Like one of my favorite guns to shoot. And you know, it's kind of like the poor man's 5.7, right? You know that. So and then not to be outdone, we've got those. Boom. The CMR 30. Check that out, the CMR 30. So this is the rifle version of that. I would love to have an SBR version of this. Maybe chop the barrel down or something like that. I don't know. But there you go. So this is the CMR, and you know, the retractable stock right there. Here's the release for the stock. It's right up here on the trigger guard, and that releases your retractable stock. So another very, very cool gun. This is threaded. You can put a suppressor on this. You know, is it possible of blowing up? I would say yes, but you can put a suppressor on it. I have put a suppressor on there, but you know, do it at your own risk. So very cool. Also very lightweight gun. There you go. Uses the same magazine. So the same magazine from the pistol goes in there. One of the things about it that some people don't like, I'm kind of used to it, that the magazine release is right here. So it's kind of old school. There's a magazine release in it. So there you go. I don't know if you guys have any questions about those. Have either one of you ever shot any of these guns?
Absolutely not. That's why I'm in shock and awe. So no, I have not, and I need to get back out there in the firing range. But I've just been busy so much lately.
Okay. They're very cool guns, and you know, for people who are wondering if it has any use, I think it's good for hunting. Like where I live, people use a lot of 22 Magnum hunting. So you know, it's got a high capacity and all that kind of good stuff. From 22 Magnum, lightweight. You know, if you're going hiking or something like that, you could put this and a bunch of 22s and the magazines and 22 Magnums and all that kind of stuff. So Richard Hughes wants to know if I have any ammo to show how it loads in the magazine. No, I don't. But I've got videos, and there's several videos on that. You just want to make sure that there's a special way that you need to put in the rim of the 22 Magnum. It needs to be in a specific place. Otherwise, you get like rim lock as it's feeding through the magazine, and you might have some issues based on that. So, and then also 22 Magnum, the shell casings are very soft. So it's real easy to, like, from the rim, dent the one under it and bend it or something like that. So you just want to be careful. Load those magazines in advance. You know, there you go. So.
And that's why I tune in, because you do learn a lot. You're very informative. You teach us a lot of things when it comes to gun and gun safety and different types of guns. So that's why I follow you, because I learn a lot when I do. Awesome. I appreciate that. So what do you think? What do you think about it, Joe?
Yeah, I think you're very informative. No.
Yeah. No, Joe's like, he's a total idiot. I don't know why you would even listen to anything.
I shot the PMR 30 before. It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't have any range time with the other two though.
Yeah. So this is like the challenger to your PS90, right?
I suppose so. I got to tell you though. I mean,
you say no.
Other than the trigger on this, FN got this gun right. I mean, they did.
Yeah. No, I like the PS.
I love this thing to death.
Yeah, I like the PS90. You know what? I think it would be cool if maybe Kel-Tec adapts these to the 5.7 round.
Yeah, it would be. What does that guy run?
I can't remember. It's been a long time since I bought this. We can go look real quick on Kel-Tec's website.
There you go.
Pull it up here real quick. So
yeah. 5.7 is really, there are a lot of companies doing more stuff with 5.7 every day. So I think the rounds really, it kind of stagnated for a while. And I think it's gonna wind up taking back off again.
The 5.7, yeah, the 5.7 round. So if you look on Caltech's website, it's 630 is the MSRP. So supposedly Caltech believes that you can get things cheaper than that, but the whole Caltech has this distribution only system. So a lot of these cool guns like this go out to the distributors, and that's the only way they go out there. Supposedly, there's actually other ways that they go out there, but for that reason, those distributors then they can do whatever they want, and they use it as leverage against the stores buying stuff. So in other words, they hold on to them and make it look like there's not a lot of them out there. And then they tell the store, oh, if you want to get one of these, you got to buy this many guns of this thing or spend this much money with us and all kinds of crap. So that's, I think, the reason why people, like, it's so difficult to see these things go out there. Although if you look on my video, I have a video of the like a tour of the Caltech factory. That's over an hour long. You would see that they kick these out. They spit these things out by the hundreds all day. But the distributors make it look like they're rare or something like that. So a shout out to Walter from Safety Harbor Firearms. I see him in the chat. He says he's at work right now. That's why he didn't come on today. He's running the milling machine. So shouts out to him. Any other questions? Did you guys have any?
Looks like some people are talking about sticking to cheap ammo. I don't know if that's in reference to 5.7, but the 5.7 round used to be, when these first came out, 223 5.56 was 20 cents a round, and this was 50 cents a round. And today, you've got 223 at 30 cents a round, and this is probably closer about with the buying the federal stuff, the Federal American Eagle. I think you're getting down to about 40 cents a round, which, I mean, it's like shooting 45 ACP, right? So it's not, it's cheaper than shooting 308 by far. So
it's getting better and more available. I think that they're not holding people to the patent anymore. So there's other people that could be making that round now.
There are other companies. I would caution folks to make sure before you buy a bunch of any of the new companies who are out there making 5.7 ammo, buy a small batch of their ammo first to test out, do some research. It is difficult to get a proper crimp on this round. And if you're talking about in magazines like this, in a PS90 type magazine, where you're manipulating the round quite a bit and it's slinging around in there as it loads, it could, because the cyclic rate on this is high, those springs, everything's moving fast. You can get separation of the bullets if they're not crimped properly. So I would caution everyone, if you're using something that's not FN, not Fiocchi or Federal, and basically a lot of those same companies are all use the same manufacturer, so to speak. Anyway, they're basically the same company for all intents and purposes anyway, for this round anyway. Do your research, because I would hate for someone to buy a 1,000-round case of something and then boom.
Yeah, issues with it. Brian Quick wants to know, why don't we hear about Big Daddy Unlimited? I'm not sure what he's saying. We were talking about Big Daddy Unlimited. I think
no, I think that was in relation to you looking up Caltech's pricing. I don't think Big Daddy Unlimited has those Caltechs on there.
I think they do, but it's one of those things. I don't have it. I don't have the site to pull it up right here in front of me, to be honest with you. So it would take me a while, which we don't have that much time to pull it up. They do have Caltech things because they have access to the distributors. It's just the availability and stuff like that. And I think there is stuff from Caltech. Babyface was talking about it on Monday that there was an RDB. I don't think that RDB is available anymore. They do have things. You guys should, like Big Daddy Unlimited is 99 cents for the first month. You can sign up. You can keep an eye on things. You can get email notifications when things come into stock and all that. That way, if you're looking for something, let's say you're looking up a CMR or something like that, and it's not available, when it becomes available, they can notify you, and then you can go in there and get it, or your PMR. So definitely go check out Big Daddy Unlimited. There's a link in the description of this video, but I have like a whole bunch of screens open, and I don't have all that stuff right in front of me. So we probably will not be able to do that on time. And then I saw there was another question here that someone was asking about. Let's see if we can go through that. I don't know if you guys have anything. Oh, Harry's Holsters said he missed this chat. Just got in from the shop and currently on Shopify with their rules, but he'll be switching out to a new host. We're going to wake up tomorrow morning and there's going to be tons of companies affected by this. We already heard from Franklin Armory that they're going to be affected, obviously. We know Spike's Tactical. I'm just telling you guys that this is the background, this is the backbone for what lots of people use, to be honest with you. So you're going to be hearing a lot about this. And in my opinion, all these companies need to, or we need to get some companies out there to get together and figure out how to do this. You know, I personally wish that we could just make one big ecosystem that we could talk to each other. We could look at videos, we could buy and sell stuff and do all the things that we need to do in one ecosystem just to make it easier. But, you know, hey, that's not really up to me. I'm not the developer of these things. But if there's companies out there and they're interested in getting highlighted or whatever, I'll be able to do something. Richard Hughes says 2 RDBs at West Palm Beach Gun Show this past weekend for $8.99. Not bad. Yeah, you know, that's probably going to be my next purchase if Mrs. Strange, you know, she okays that. Yes, you know, as we were talking about before, you know how it goes. So, and Exhale, I just see Exhale coming in. He says just came in. Shitty to hear. JD Supply got hit as well. So there you go. JSD Supply, excuse me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had to redo a whole refresh on my computer. That's kind of sad.
Oh, yeah. So you know what? Let's wrap this up a little bit here. So you know, I'll probably start with Joe, and then we'll go to Lucretia. Joe, yeah. What kind of stuff do you have going on, man? What's up?
So we've got what do we have coming up? Geisley, we're doing an SSP review on their SSP trigger, and Geisley chimed in on one of our IG live streams. We do an IG live stream every Friday night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. So when you're done here next Friday night, join us on Instagram. And Geisley popped in, and they are going to donate an SSP trigger that we're going to give away to our subscribers when the review goes live.
Oh, sweet. What?
Yeah, so that's going to be really cool. So if you guys want, go sign up for our newsletter, 13cgunreviews.com, or you can find us on our Facebook page. There should be a link to sign up as well. And it's going to be a really simple giveaway and contest. Basically, you know, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to Geisley's YouTube channel, and then sign up for our newsletter. And that's pretty much going to be the extent of the hoops that you'll have to jump through. I'm just waiting to confirm on Geisley's, and they're okay with that since they're the ones nice enough to donate the SSP trigger. It's like SSP triggers run about $250. So and this SSP trigger, I've been running it for a little while now. It is a blast. I love it.
Nice. So how are you going to give away that trigger? Are you going to give it away on your live from Instagram?
No,
or are you doing it? Okay.
I want to do it so people don't have to be online at whatever time I do it. So I'm hammering out those final details, and they'll be in the video. But I know a requirement is going to be to you know, follow both of our YouTube channels.
Have to be on the email list.
Yeah, and then be on the email list.
Okay.
And that'll be like the verifier, whatever the entry method is from there is going to be very simple. You know, it's not going to be like all kinds of crazy hoops or anything. I want to hammer out that detail with Geisley just to make sure they're good with it, so it's transparent at the same time as you know, happy with them as well. So, and I haven't had the time to talk to them in the past week since they said that on our IG live stream. So.
Okay, very cool. All right, and then we'll go to Lucretia, Miss Lucretia Hughes. We're about to sign off.
You know what? I live in the country. It is what it is when it comes to internet service. Everybody just watch the NRA television commercial. It's out there on Fox News, Fox Business, Fox International. I will be speaking at the Mother of All rallies, and I usually do a podcast every night on YouTube and Facebook. So hit a sister girl up, and remember, shameless plug, get the t-shirts, because that's how I keep doing what I'm doing. And either way, I'm not going to stop.
So this t-shirt says, can we get a closer look at the t-shirt here?
You want me to bring my, seriously?
Come on now.
There
we go. There he goes. What does the T-shirt say?
Hollywood is a shithole, but it's spelled backwards. You know, you don't want to go walk in a grandma's house with shithole spelled the right way on your.
Hollywood is ilo shish. Ilo shish. Something like that. That's very cool. Okay, so and exactly how can people help you out, follow you? What's the best platforms you suggest people get on if they want to keep Twitter, up with Lucretia Hughes? I'm on Twitter at Cree35.
Also have a GoFundMe, a Patriots. Lord have mercy, a True American Patriot, and also on Facebook. I go right when I'm finished with you. I will be going live at 9:45, and then I'm jumping on a syndicated radio show. They want to do another interview with me. So everybody just keep me in your prayers and that I'm on the right path. And that is to protect our Constitution, Bill of Rights, and also our Declarations of Independence before it's taken away from us.
Amen. Amen. Okay. And I know that I think at the top of the show, I promised to have these guys give some background, but I've had them both on before. So if you go back and look at any of the past episodes, you'll see some background on Lucretia Hughes, as well as Joe from 13C Gun Reviews, or as he would like to be known, 13C. Yeah. He just wants to be 13C. I don't know.
I think so. Maybe that'll help with some of the search engine stuff, getting rid of the word gun in there. I don't know.
Yeah. So there you go. I want to thank everyone for joining us, even though we had to restart here again and all that kind of stuff. Appreciate everyone joining us. I want to thank all the folks that support us on Patreon, of course, and all the other ways that you can support us. If you go look in the link, if you go look in the description of this video, you'll see some stuff. Specifically, there's something called Lola's Deals. You can go in there, and that will take you to all the different things we have going on. I did want to say that Fort Scott Munitions is on board as a sponsor of the Hank Strange situation. And if you want to get a deal, yes, and if you want to get a deal when you're buying ammo, the code from us is Hank10, and that gets you 10% off when you're buying Fort Scott Munitions. So how you like them apples? So there you go. We'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back here to talk about more stuff. Until then, we'll see you guys. We're out of here.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
All right.